What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is producer, rapper, DJ, founder of the blog and label PTP, teacher, and archivist GENG PTP. We spoke about ethics in journalism, the Bob's Burgers movie, Ozark, the pros and cons of binging television, the history of Kim's video and music, our relationship with music videos, the current underground renaissance, and more anecdotes and detours than I can count. Come fuck with us.
Actually, that's a brilliant intro. I feel like it's a good way to like throw people in, like have them be like really feel like the fly on the wall effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't always get it the way I want to, because
Yeah.
the first time I thought about it was when I was talking to Liv and Frank, and like before I started recording, they were just like, you should be recording like as soon as you start these. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, you know, like the journalist in me is like, is that ethical? Should I do that to people? But most of the time, most people are like, I don't care. Like, just do what you want. Most people just like you, they just assume we're recording anyway. So fuck it, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly.
But,
exactly. Yeah. I think I mean, I get it. I appreciate your consideration on as a host and as someone who doesn't just assume things. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, that's what we're talking about. People assume shit. People assume that they understand everything about a single record. Folks who weren't there, you know what I mean? Folks who were there, even like don't necessarily understand everything about a single record if they didn't make it themselves, or sometimes even they did. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, time has a funny way of working certain answers or certain ideas into the fold, and like just in terms of how you conduct I mean, you know, I think people know what they're getting into, and if they don't, it's fine, you can edit the shit out. But like I think starting with the record and being like, cool, are we good, you know what I mean, and just let it roll from there. But yeah, man, it was a cool night. It was a really beautiful evening. We were able to honor a lovely newer release on PTP, and you know, ill ass artists. No, a bunch of ill ass artists who were on the lineup. And but yeah, shout out to Swaya, whose Existence EP is out now on PTP, and will be on digital platforms and like Boomcat and all that shit, like I think tomorrow perhaps. So
Boomcat,
there's
crazy.
That. Yeah, get the paragraph, get the crazy like 3-sentence adjective heavy, you know what I'm saying, referential review.
Yeah.
That's like a whole other thing. Yeah. But it's just cool. It's just weird too though, like New York like space in New York is just always it's like it's a constant issue, but like now it's especially like treacherous because we're talking also about like rent being crazy, like crazier, but like no jobs, like, or like less jobs appearing in front of people.
Right. You know, the craziest thing I heard recently was that like there are more Airbnb controlled apartments available to like rent out than there are like actual places to just like live on some regular shit. Like you can't, you like just like having, so like imagine just having to like post up somewhere in like Greenpoint, for example, for like $600 a day type shit. Like people can't afford that shit. What are you talking about?
No, facts. Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, even if like, you know, you're trying to like, we like to go upstate. We got peoples up there and we just like to get away. You know what I mean? That shit is hard to access now because fucking, ever since the pandemic started, people started going up there to like just launch their Airbnb business. Shit is crazy. It's literally like city prices. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what? Like, and and maybe there's a whole narrative of funding this gentrification by like going into these Airbnbs and doing the thing, sure, no doubt. Like there is that. I mean, all of us in some way, shape, or form are like gentrifying in some way, shape, or form. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're literally on like stolen land, right? We're literally on like, so that's the shit. I mean, but like obviously it's how you move in these situations, it's how you move in these spaces or whatever, and like the things, how you navigate, how you like work with that space, work within that space. You know what I mean? Like, are you respectful? Are you on some like, are you on some like, I just ignore everyone because, you know what I mean? Like on some weird like colonial, just like it's just you and your dog.
Yeah, I'm here and you're not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like everyone else is like the people who have been here, like the people, they're like only their service or like whatever. They're lesser than in some way, shape, or form. That's some, that's a whole other thing. But we don't gotta get into that today.
I actually have one more thing I want to add to that because I've been thinking about this a lot. It'll be quick, but like, what's it called? My partner and I talk about that shit all the time. Shout out to Desiree, I love you. Because Des is from an area called, or Des lived in an area for a time called Orient Point, which is like way up at the top of Long Island, like way up there, like damn near like at the end of the island type shit. And the same thing that's happening upstate with people who just like move, like people from the city would go there during the summer and have like, it's like a summer home type of place, like it's like people go there and like go to chill on the beach and just like have the nice little, it's kind of like how some people treat a place like Cape Cod,
right, like going to the Cape.
Yeah, exactly. So like, so just like especially since the pandemic, like people are really just coming out there like more and more aggressive, and just like all the like just like all like the little local spots are starting to get picked up, and just like all of the little shortcuts and roads that everybody knows or like the locals know, is like people from the city are starting to figure them out. And it's just like, damn, like just people like, like it's gentrification to a different extent than it would be in somewhere like, like in like most places in the city, for obvious reasons, because like most people are very white out there. But like it's like it's still the like the principle's the same. It's just like the people who've been living out there for years and who are out there year round are getting pushed out by people who are there to just chill in the Airbnbs and like frequent the bars for like 2 months and then go home once shit starts to get too cold. Or it's a, like you said, it's a whole conversation, and it's just happening everywhere, and it's fucking sad, like
big hell on earth type shit. It's crazy. I don't know, it's a lot of that. I don't know, I'm trying to shift gears, and there's definitely a lot that I feel like we're gonna cover today. So we have to cover type shit, you know what I mean? So
this is the thing. Like, I haven't even done the drop yet, and I might not do a formal one this time. We'll see how I feel in 2 minutes. But like, I have like, I'm not even like, hi, welcome back to Real Notes. Dylan Green, CineMasai. It's me. I do a lot of things. We know the drill. The thing about Gang. I'm not even gonna do the whole protracted intro yet. The thing about Gang is that he and I have probably about 20 gigabytes worth of fucking Instagram conversations, just like recorded fucking conversations, and like this is the shit we talk about all the time. So like there's no other way to start an episode of Real Notes off, especially considering that like I'm almost 60 episodes in and it took me this long to get you here. It's my fault, it's not yours. Like but like, but you know what? Fuck it. You deserve it. I'm gonna give you the intro. Like Gang is just like, man's he's a rapper, he's a producer, he's a label owner. He's fucking slinging cassettes and fucking putting on for like the best of the best at every fucking level of this, not even just rap, but just like music shit, man. Like I don't like, people tell me I do a lot all the time, but like I don't understand how you do everything you do. Like, just like, like between PTP and the King Ultra shit and just like the Centennial, like we're gonna get into all of that, but just like
Facts.
Gang Grizzly, fucking like New York City rap music legend. Welcome to my fucking show. Thank you for being here. Like,
word, G. No, it's my honor. I appreciate those words. I appreciate. Yeah, I feel seen. I feel heard. Nah, man. Yeah, I'm a big. I mean, you know this shit. But I'll say it. I'll say it just to make the public affirmation. But I've been a big fan of your work, as well as like your written work, as well as the podcast. Like, I'm glad you took this avenue, and for like the same reasons that a lot of people have mentioned in previous episodes, like who've affirmed you in that way. You know what I mean? Like, I just think like it's not your everyday podcast listening. It's not your everyday conversation, especially in regard to like the intersection of like either cinema or rap. Like those things like aren't often like looked at, or like whatever. I don't want to use the word explored, but you know what I mean? Like, are just not often like observed in that with such like kind of like detail, but also fluidity. Like the listening experience, it isn't there's storytelling, but it's not. I was talking about some other podcasts earlier and kind of complaining about one podcast that was like that tends to get jarring. As good as the stories get, it's just like it's a lot. You gotta like kind of be in the right headspace and like have a certain mood to get into that. And yeah, there's certain podcasts where it's just like, I can just put these things on and let them rock and like do whatever, like box up shipments or whatever. And you're one of them. You know what I mean? Real Notes is one of them, where I get the food, but I also get like that just what we're talking about, like just feeling like you're in the room while these folks are having a insightful dialogue. You know what I'm saying? So I thank you for that. You know what I mean? I thank you for providing that in this wonderful in this wonderful podcast world. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I appreciate that so much, because like it's because like it's a thing that like for the 6 months it took me to like make this shit and like turn it into a thing. Like, it seemed like I was like, oh, this feels like a little too obvious. Like, everybody likes movies. Like, am I doing this right? So like just to hear, like, it doesn't escape me that people just like caring is just a lot to me still. I'm not at a point where that's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be at a point where that's like not surreal. So just like the fact that like, especially considering like all the things that you've done and been a part of, and like, like when you, because like I think you reached out the first time after the Akai episode, and just like to see you, like, I don't know, man, just like when the OGs reach out and are like, yo, you're doing something, that really means a lot to me. Like, I really want to, I'm just a piece. I'm just one piece of this shit, but I just appreciate it. I don't even know what else to say. I just
you said it. No doubt. And we're all pieces, so that's the thing. Like, I'm just because I've like lived a certain amount of time on the planet or whatever on this physical plane, and whatever. Like, it's all good. Like, I'm still just a piece as well. Like, I'm not the all encompassing. I don't. All I could do is like, you know what I mean? Like, continue to learn how to like exist within the space type shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out here trying to like make laws and define shit. Like, other than like, maybe not. I don't even know if I'm gonna try to define myself. But my point is like, regardless of all that, like, we all gotta self-affirm. We all gotta affirm each other. So there's Absolutely. That. You know what I mean? There's that. And I'm just happy that we're at this moment now that we could talk our shit. I could bust my gun a bit. So let's go,
son. Let's do it. Now I'm ready. So yeah, in that case, let me ask. Yeah, fuck it. What's the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Well, I movie. I just saw the Bob's Burgers movie.
How'd you
That was
like
cool.
it? Oh,
I
I
enjoyed
haven't
it.
seen it yet.
I enjoyed it. I think it's worth it if you fuck with Bob's Burgers and the whole like comedic language. You'd fuck with it. It's the same. It's that rhythm that you get from the show, but just kind of like blown out into like a 1 hour and 40-minute foray or whatever. It's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. It makes you it'll like make you feel good. You know what I mean? So I like that. I think that's good. I think there's definitely good space for that. Like I think we all kind of need to be reminded to tap into things like that. They're just like, yo, this is just because that's what I used to do with the TV show. Like I would watch like some like I don't know some some shit on like an HBO Sunday night, right? And you know when it was like HBO Sunday, and then like all right, now I got to go to like Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, and like decompress because I just saw
take
like
the edge off for sure.
yeah, I just saw Bodie get bodied, or you know what I mean, or somebody, you know what I mean, like or whoever, like just some heavy death shit. And I'm like, okay, I can only, but I'm not trying to like go into Monday with all that. So
yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean. So that was cool. I saw Inland Empire on at the was it the IMAX? Not the IMAX, the IFC. I'm bugging the IMAX, the IFC downtown, and that was a trip because we were also watching. My partner and I were finishing up our like Twin Peaks marathon. So I never saw Twin Peaks season 2 until recently. And then we watched The Return season 3. And there's that interesting sort of like timeline where Sir David motherfucking David Byrne, fuck, what's his name, son?
Lynch.
David Lynch, yeah. I keep saying David. I keep fucking up with something talking heads. But yeah, David Lynch kind of like has that. He's doing his other shit. He's taking a break from the Twin Peaks universe or whatever, and then like he does Inland Empire. I think as his last film. I think perhaps.
Pretty sure, yeah. It's been a minute, if not. Like I think, Inland Empire was the last one. Right. Wow, it's been like 20 years, bro. Jesus.
That's crazy. Yeah. And then you go from that, and then he does the Twin Peaks Return, which was one of the last series that we finished that definitely was a head bust. Both things were a head bust in the very Lynchian kind of way. And just like realizing like, oh, okay, like this guy like did like my man Derek was with us. Shout out to Derek from Detroit, Derek Schultz. He's like a Lynch head. Like he's like he dead kind of like could look like he could do Lynch cosplay, you know what I mean? Like he looks kind of like Lynch's son type shit. I don't know how you'd feel if I said me saying all that, but like basically he was like sitting next and just breaking the shit down like, yo, this like was all the precursor to like what he then emphasized or like put fully into practice in the Twin Peaks Return, like, years later type shit. So just kind of seeing like the imperfect circle in terms of like a story arc, and in terms of like how like this guy like introduces and like plays with narrative, you know what I mean? Like that shit was crazy because usually you're like, okay, everything it gets tied up at the end. If it doesn't, then you're like pissed off. You're like, man, I was like, that was kind of sloppy, whatever. But like with Lynch, because he's Lynch and because he does what he does, and he's kind of like a one of one. Like he's not only able to do these things, but I mean, the reason why he's able to do these things is because he's like committed beyond like. I don't know, like that's his intention is like he was like writing Inland Empire by the day type shit, right? He was like writing it like, so I don't know, that shit was crazy. It was also like ill to like sit in the theater for 3 hours, as also like the first post quarantine movie.
Oh, that was your first one back?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a crazy first. And had you seen Inland Empire before or not?
Nah, no, no, no.
Wow, so seeing it in the wow,
For the first
that's an
time, yeah,
experience.
yeah. So it
Yeah,
was the whole shit, yeah. Laura
damn.
Dern is super ill. There's a lot of folks in there who are like, and just like this, all the facial shots are like crazy, like they're fucking
Yeah.
horrific. Like the close-ups, the fisheye, and all that, and how it's shot. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to go into the whole thing or whatever, but like definitely enjoyed my or our my partner and I recent Lynchian experiences. Um, and recently watched Ozark, finished Ozark rather. So
Mm-hmm.
uh that was cool. That was some shit. That's another one. You can't really like binge. I don't recommend anyone. I know I have friends who like go binge like Ozark, and I'm like,
No,
don't do that.
no,
Like
no, 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 no.
you'll run away with you will have like a panic attack, or like you're gonna end that shit with like high blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't
see,
do that shit.
I made the mistake of when I was watching through Breaking Bad when I was in college.
Nope.
I listen. I made it through. I watched the second half of the fourth season over a 9-hour period, like before the binging model was like really like a binging thing.
Right,
Like
right.
I did those 9 episodes from 12 in the afternoon until 9 o'clock at night. Never doing no shit like that ever again. Like
Mm-mm.
I was just like I was just tired. Like I wasn't even just tired. I was depressed. Like I got up just like I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what is life? Like why did I do this to myself? And just like I I there was a there was like someone on Twitter who was talking about how like they should just like only certain shows should get the binge treatment, like in the sense of
Mm-hmm.
like something like a Ozark or even like Stranger Things, which just came back, for example.
Right.
Like those
Right.
shows to me and to this person, like I agree with what they were saying, is like that would work on like a week to week basis. You know, like
Right.
stuff like that
Right.
should go week by week, but like you can binge like a Bob's Burgers. You could binge
Yeah.
like
Right. Right.
you could binge
A
like a
curve.
sitcom, a Curb, a
Yeah. Yeah.
reality show, like stuff like
Office.
that.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, like
Facts.
stuff like that is like definitely conducive to like binging. But like I'm not trying to watch all the Stranger Things in a day, you know, like
No.
but I also know a lot of people who love to do stuff like that, you know, and like it's different strokes, you know. But like I'm
Right.
just like
Right.
I can't watch, like it's not even that I can't do it. I just like I've just always been like a 3 to 4 episodes of a thing type of person. Like I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen for the first time right now,
Yeah. Right.
and I'm like I typically do like 3 to 4 episodes like every like 1 or 2 days. Not even
Mm.
because I can't handle it, just because like I'm busy. I do a lot of things, so I don't have
Right.
the
Right.
time to like sit and watch shit all the time. But
That's
like
that's why I stay away from certain series, like anime series that I want to like tap, that people tell me to tap into. I'm like, yo, I don't have time to like get into. But it is the thing of like just spacing it out. You know what I'm saying? Just making it work. Obviously, I can't. There's no way I'm gonna get into One Punch. There's no way I'm gonna get into Naruto or whatever. Like, nah, I'm good on all that. I
oh, you
just
mean
give
One
me the
Piece?
One
You said
Piece. I
One
mean,
Punch. Yeah,
I
yeah.
said One
I was about to
Punch. Yeah,
say. There's only like 2 seasons of One Punch Man, I think, right? Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
either
I
way, yeah.
guess. Yeah, yeah.
Either way,
I don't know. Yeah. Um, but that's yeah. I could do two, maybe three, like 20-minute, 22-minute, you know, excursions, and then in a row, and then kind of like I gotta kind of call it generally. So like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like during, like, we watched like all of Avatar and Korra in quarantine, right? Or like quarantine, and then finish Korra after when we were like
right.
outside again, so to speak. And but we did like 2 episodes a day kind of a situation, so you're looking at it, it's like 40, 50, maybe even more episodes in total. Same thing with like Oz. We watched Oz for like, I don't even know we finished Oz. Like, we got to like the very last moments, it's just like, I think we're just like, yo, we're just done watching people lose. Like, the same thing. I couldn't get into Breaking Bad. I'm just like, like I don't really want to watch like terrible people do terrible shit. Like, but also like we just watched Ozark. You know what I'm saying? We watched Succession.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one, I don't know. We just tapped into those, and just those kept our attention or whatever, or those are just like we found those to be like well done, whatever that means, or whatever that's worth. But like I love the linkage. I do love like Succession because it's like watching horrible people just destroy each other. You know what I'm saying? Like these are people that I don't value their lives, like type shit. Like I just like I look at those folks, I'm just like, but also the illest part of the writing is like it throws in, there's like that strain of humanity that's like that little thread that like they get humanized in these little moments where you're like sitting with them, like, you know, like they're going through some shit and you're like, damn, I kind of feel for you. Like, you know, like it's not all your fault. Like your father is a fucking asshole. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like your dad is a piece of shit. Similarly, Ozark, but also like, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. There's like an interest, I don't know, just like drawing the parallels between those two. Cause you're like, damn, like y'all really just came in on the Ozark shit. Like y'all really just came in, like just like went parasitic on like a fucking town, all just to like it's all capitalism. It's all like literally just playing out. Like y'all came through to this small town, terrorized, like just destroyed everyone's lives to make your like to survive, like only to survive, and like drain the land of its like goods. And then I'm not trying to spoil no endings or whatever, but
right.
You know, I mean, you know that from at least the first season, like it's pretty evident that's like what's going on. So
See,
yeah, it's just crazy how it plays out, obviously.
yeah,
I enjoyed it. I do. I fuck with Ozark. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't know. There's a whole
no, I feel
like
it.
narrative around Ozark too that's been interesting, and I'm just like, I don't know. This is the whole shit about like, yo, like what, like why is you know, the whole thing about like rap music being played in Ozark, and I'm like, I think it has a place in Ozark. I think it's an interesting. I think there's an intention there beyond just like, hey, like we're going to like at the most extreme criminalize like rap music, or rather criminalize blackness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, so this is something beyond just Killer Mike and the girl talking about Nas. This is deeper than that. Okay, because I don't watch Ozark, so you're kind of schooling me right now.
Yeah. No, I mean she like, so that girl Ruth, the character, she's like, that's been her shit like since the first season, since like the first episode. First time you see her, I think she's like listening like Biggie or Tupac in the car. Like you see her throughout, and it's not she just be chilling, like, and you know the camera comes up on her. She's just like waiting for somebody, just like picking up her whatever, so a family member or some shit. She just got like, that's the only times you hear hip hop in the show is with this specific character.
Okay.
So it's not like every time she does something crazy, every time someone does something crazy, then some shit like they play, you know, Young Thug or some shit. Like it's not that. Right. It's not like they play Pop Smoke every time someone's about to get smoked or whatever. Nah, it's a little bit more like implanted in there, and like there's like a character narrative, like, or whatever. There's like a theme with her character, like that she's just like, yo, like I don't know. There's a whole like article, like interview with like the creators, and as to like why they like did this like thing. They have a whole episode where like various songs from Illmatic, like Nas's like Illmatic, like get played throughout that episode. It is the Killer Mike episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you know, there's like certain parallels as far as like being young and being in this like environment that you're trying to escape, but you're also watching you know, just kind of burn itself down. Like you're watching like the world kind of crumble around you, but and you're seeing like across the water at like the riches, or like the palaces that are being like erected from these like hallmark stages of capitalism, et cetera, being exercised, right? So she's kind of on that shit. Granted, and they acknowledge the shit. Like there's a difference. She's like a white girl, and you know, Nas is a black dude, as a black man. You know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, like it's not exactly the SZA tweet. And people, I don't know. You can come for me all you want, but like I don't know. I'm just, nah, it's cool. Like I don't got time for that shit. Like but that is fact. Like the SZA tweet is factual in regard to certain other shows. Yes, absolutely. Like
what did she say again? Remind me real quick. I don't remember.
She was just like, oh, like Ozark is cool and all that. But like, why every time someone why is every time someone committing a crime or whatever, doing something crazy, like going to do something crazy, aka like a crime or whatever, rap music is playing. Okay. Why? Well, you know, it would be more interesting. Wouldn't it be more interesting if like, you know, Shorty was going crazy to like, I don't know, she's like Taylor Swift or like Avril Lavigne or some shit. And I'm like, in certain cases, perhaps, yeah, probably, but like, but you know, yeah. At the core, I get what she's saying, obviously, and like I agree. Just, you know, I think using Ozark as an example isn't quite on point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's but whatever. We don't, you know, you haven't seen it, so we could skip over this whole shit. There's mad other shit we could talk about. I want to talk about the origins and whatnot. Let's go. Be like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to hit too many spoilers. I mean, I don't want to like, if you ever want to tap in with Ozark, I don't want to go off and be like,
yeah, no, I'm gonna try it one of these days. But before we get to the origins, I wanted to touch on the Bob's Burgers bit from like 10 minutes ago, just like real fast, because A, I haven't seen the movie. B, I'm a fan of the show. C, I think you just said something really great about like needing to just like the necessity of stuff like Bob's Burgers that isn't like overtly fucking soul destroying, you know? Like there's definitely a place for stuff like Succession and stuff that like, you know, like I think it's really important and crucial to have media that shows bad people behaving badly, and even not even fucking getting their comeuppance or whatever, but just kind of being like, hey, this is bad. You know, like I'm showing you this to show you that this is bad. Like there's obviously like a time and a place for that stuff, and depending on your mood, it's gonna hit. If it like the degree to which it hits depends on your mood entirely. But like I'm definitely the type of person who loves to like put on like something like a Bob's Burgers or just like something. It's just like that type of stuff matters too. And it like I see so many people talk about how like just like people think it either means less or has less to say because it's not exploring like, you know, like the subtleties of like negative live or like not negative living, that's a bad way of putting it, but just like the subtleties of like just like being caught in negative situations and having to work your way around that, you know? Right. Like life isn't all that, you know, like sometimes life is, oh man, I own this business. I want to name silly burgers. I'm like barely getting by. My family lives on what's basically the fucking Jersey Shore. And like we go to school and like Mr. Fish Odor is wilding with the rent sometimes. Like, you know, like sometimes life is like simple and banal and funny in that way. And I think like the balance of like I think you saying something like going from HBO Sunday to Bob's Burgers or like Adult Swim is really and even going into something like Adult Swim where you're like kind of mixing the bad with the like absurd cartoony shit. Like I just think I mean, like, I feel like anybody listening who like knows me or has been into this, like knows that I really fuck with that kind of shit. I always have.
Oh yeah.
And you know, just like I just think that's tight to just kind of like I'm just happy that shows like Bob's Burgers exist, you know?
Exists. Facts. You know, but you know what's crazy? Like what the head bust is about all that too is like, it's like, yeah, we're going from, you know, someone getting a head cut off in Game of Thrones or some shit, right? Or whatever, like to like regular so-called regular day fucking stresses. Like Bob's Burgers is like it it lightens up. It's like a, you know, it's like a sitcom in that way, where it like lightens up, like it takes the serious, like everyday problems, so to speak, and like the stresses, and like lightens them up in a way. But like it's sharp, you know what I mean? It's like it's very it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't I mean, it's cartoonish, like, so it honors that tradition, but it doesn't feel like it trivializes, like, you know, uh fucked up landlords, like dealing with fucked up landlords, or dealing with like your family, and like the stresses that, you know, come with that, or whatever, or like living on the Jersey Shore or whatever. Like it's interesting though. I just like recall like what is, you know, like, what is it about? It's like, oh shit, like they're just like, they're literally like just like running a struggling restaurant with a family and dealing with rent. And it's just like, damn, that shit is actually like some of the realest, you know, that could be a horror movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
it could be any kind of movie,
that could
you
be
know,
any,
like,
right, it could be any kind of, yeah, exactly. So but they just do it, they do it well. So, you know, shout out to those folks, because they're hilarious. And like, yeah, it kind of it brings the light out of I mean, you know, they always bring it to the light, so it's cool. We all need that, you know what I mean?
right. I still been laughing about my man who voiced Tony Pesto getting caught at the insurrection and shit. Cause
Wait, for real?
oh yeah, for real. Like so like the guy. So for anybody who doesn't know, the guy who voiced Tony, the guy who voiced Tony Pesto was at the January 6th
No.
insurrection that happened, and like I don't know if Tony Pesto is in the movie or not, but like I think they like let him go at some, yeah, okay, so like they let him, they
Nah,
obviously
nah, nah.
got the actor out of here, but like yeah, he was, he was or Jimmy Pesto, my fault, Jimmy Pesto is his name.
Wait, Jimmy Pesto is the dude who owns the Italian restaurant across the street?
Yeah.
That character's in it, but I don't know if you actually hear. I'm like, wait, does he actually speak? You see him across the street, and he's like,
Right,
but he doesn't have a line. I don't think. That's crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
so that's why, because he was caught at the insurrection, and they were like, nah, you're out. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
was it was like instantaneous, because like
Yeah. Fuck
they
out of here.
yeah, right, like like the Bob's Burgers team cares about that type of shit, which is cool.
That's
But
yeah. That energy, you can feel that type of energy generally too. Like people who like caring, loving hands. You know what I mean? Creating shit. Like you can
yeah,
generally, not every time, obviously, but like you could sense like when people are like of a kind, or of a certain intention, and like aren't just trying to like co-opt. Because like if it's just some like ops doing the shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, well, I don't know. I feel like there's certain shows I wouldn't be surprised, you know what I'm saying? But like
yeah, definitely.
Bob's Burgers, like, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you don't know what every voice actor or every person in part of this collaboration, like large collaborations, up to, and
Yeah,
that's a situation that arises within the community, in any community, right?
yeah,
You know,
often,
we've had
yeah.
often, right?
Yeah,
Unfortunately, but it is something that, you know, we all got to figure out a way to deal with. In this case, yes, dropping Jimmy Pesto, the voice of Jimmy Pesto, and making him a silent character in the movie, if I remember correctly,
that's hilarious.
is the move. Is the move. Fuck it.
That shit is tight. But yeah,
Shit is ill.
so yeah, okay, so now it's time. I wanna know what what's the first movie experience you can remember having, gang? You could be at the
Damn,
theater,
dude.
your cousin house, wherever.
Mm, 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 mm. Shit, you know, I think honestly, like the shit that, all right, the movies the here's a funny one. One of the first movie theater experiences that I can recall, let's just say we'll do that first, was I think seeing either Rambo 2 or Rambo 3 when I was dumb young. And I'm like, why is my mom like, my mom took me to see, my mom, my uncle, I think, took me to see this shit. I'm just like, how am I in the theater? Like, I knew it was wrong. Like I knew it was like kind of hectic. I was just like, like I'm just watching wild people get bodied, and I'm like, 6 or some shit, or what. I don't know
Right.
how old I would have been when I guess 3 maybe came out. But I just remember being like kind of like looking at the screen like, oh, like am I supposed to be watching this shit? Like, so that was one, but I like don't recall the movie at all. Like it was like that long ago, obviously. And
You
then
haven't seen it since.
I've probably seen it, but I might have been inebriated, or you know what I mean, like back in those
Yeah.
days, or like I just didn't give a fuck, or like fell asleep because I don't know. Yeah, Rambo. The first Rambo was kind of like entertaining, I guess, but I didn't really keep up with the rest. As far as like, I'm
Right,
not really
right.
trying to pay attention to that. That whole like 80s action movie thing too is like its own odd pocket. You know what I mean? Like it's like more a shtick now, right? It's like more like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was a shtick before. It was like, but now it's just like, yo,
It's an aesthetic, like
I
it's really weird.
what like is Fast and the Furious, the thing that took that, like kind of ran with that and like updated it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there'd always be like it's like, I mean, because there was the whole like Knight Rider, Viper, I think was a show about like a Dodge Viper when that shit was new. There's like this whole thing about like fetishizing like fetishizing like machinery basically, and like putting it in an action based context.
Right.
And like, I think, but like very much so that was like, I mean, Dukes of Hazzard, as like backwards as that fucking show is or whatever, like, you watched it because the car jumped a lot and shit. Like it was like, ooh, like, even Chips is like, oh, like cops on cool motorcycles and shit, like Eric Estrada, like I don't know. But my point is like they always had like an element of like machinery that was kind of like the sexy thing. You know what I mean? Like that's like the point of focus. It's like when that shit comes in, you had it for like air, land, and sea. Like there's Airwolf, like the helicopter show, and these all I'm gonna speak on those in a second actually, because I kind of was thinking about this before we got on the phone. I was thinking about theme music. So let's just we'll hold that thought. But I
Yep,
want to
yep,
talk
yep.
about theme. I want to talk to you about theme music. But
Yeah, please.
word. But yo, another, I think like Transformers the movie was big for me.
Yeah, come on.
That was big early, feeling like moves when Optimus Prime, that one scene, that the emotional scene in the movie. I don't know if have you seen that movie?
Oh, of course I have. Yeah, nah.
Okay, facts. I mean, would I be spoiling it if I said what happens?
No,
Not like, okay, yeah. I mean, it's
bro,
now.
that movie's like 35 years old. Like
Facts. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, who doesn't know? Not I mean the soundtrack literally is like the death of Optimus Prime or whatever. But yeah, when Optimus
right,
Prime
like,
like died, I'm like, yo, like I saw like my whole childhood like was robbed of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, or
yeah.
in like in a very innocent, like very innocent way or whatever.
Yeah, that was y'all fucking Darth Vader moment. That was your Luke, I am your father moment.
You reminded me of Star Wars though. Facts. I don't know. Star Wars could have been an early one too. Matter of fact. But I don't know if it was the original. I don't remember, so I'm not going to speak on it. But but yeah, facts. That was like that whole Luke, I am your father, or I don't have a good comparison right now. But yeah, that was one of those like, oh fuck, like your heart just drops. Like that's the shit where like that's that your Bodhi got a headshot, like Bodhi got clapped. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah,
Like the good
yeah.
one. You know what I mean? Like my man's in them like just got bodied. Like damn, be like he had heart. You know what I'm saying? Like just like
Yeah, Ricky. Yeah, like Ricky getting shot and fucking boys in the hood
Ricky
and
getting,
shit. Yeah,
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
that type shit. And
Also,
then
spoiler by the way.
I'm dead. He said. And then another one that was kind of around the same time. When I was going to the theater with my pops and shit. Like, so he took me to see Transformers, and he took me to see Land Before Time. Yo.
Ooh, wow.
That is the saddest movie on the planet. I will not fucking watch that movie, G. Like, no. Nah, like
That's all, that
it's crazier than
yeah.
like Bambi's mom.
I was
Shit,
literally
like,
about to say that's our Bambi. That's like
right.
for people like our like we're a considerable amount apart in age, but like our like kind of like 10-year bracket, The Land Before Time is our Bambi. Like I remember seeing Littlefoot's mom die in The Land Before.
Oh, God. I hate it. I hate it. I hate every element of that.
Oh
yeah, that shit
God.
was like, why would, and like I feel like, what's his name? Don Bluth?
Don
Sullivan
Bluth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don Bluth.
I feel like he just had like, he just loved that shit. Like he just loved like putting us through the fucking ringer. Like just like that every movie would be like, there's just kids crying. Like it's just like kids and adults fucking crying in the theater. It's just like, why? Like five. Well, he didn't do five. Five Goes West and all that.
I think he did the first, like, because like for most of those he did like the first one, and then like the rest would get like outsourced. Like I think Five Goes West got outsourced, and like all the rest of The Land Before Times got outsourced. But like, you ever see The Secret? What about The Secret of Nim? You ever see The Secret of Nim?
That's my shit. No, I big fuck with Secret of Nim, and
oh man,
I always get that one twisted with Watership Down. Those shit are crazy.
Watership Down is wow.
That shit is the illest. That shit is gas. I big fuck with both. I think I have both. I think I got both either on VHS or DVD from like Kim's. Yo, shout out to Kim's.
Shout out to Kim's.
Rest in power to Kim's. You know what I mean? Damn. Kim's Underground. Kim's on St. Mark's and all that. That shit. That was my spot, dude.
Yo,
come on.
See, I only got to go to Kim's once in my life because a friend of mine at the time was at Cooper Union. So like we went to go visit him, and he took us to Kim's, and I was like, this shit is amazing. Like this is all I've ever wanted out of a video store. And I think like correct me if I'm wrong, did they open like a new Kim's? Like no, I take it back. The Alamo Draft House is putting, like, I think they're like helping to reopen Kim's at the Brooklyn spot. So like I'm gonna go check out the new Kim's when they open Kim's. But like for anybody who doesn't know, like Gang was saying, Kim's was this really crazy video store in St. Mark's in New York that had every kind of movie ever in it. It was like Blockbuster on bath salts, bro. It was like everything.
Like, I mean, fam, well, the illest shit about the joint at so Kim's had multiple locations. Kim's point was originally started, I think, in the late 80s, if not, then definitely, I think the late 80s, because not for nothing, I was on Discogs one day looking up old Kid Capri mixtapes, and like they were like there are old like late 80s Kid Capri mixtapes that have distributed by or like released by Kim's Underground or Kim's New York or Kim's Video. Like I was like, what? Like Kim's put out Kim's distributed Kid Capri tapes? That's crazy to me. What? That's like, so it's pre Tape Kings. If anyone knows, like Tape Kings was like the major mixtape distributor in New York, and I guess for like, I mean, there's folks in France who have like Tape Kings tapes and shit.
Jesus.
But anyway, Kim's started in like a laundromat, or as a laundromat. I guess like the dude Kim, I think, was like had a laundromat and just had like this weird collection of shit, like media. And he just had like, I think he either opened up a rental in the back of the laundromat or like the side of the laundromat, like within the laundromat though, like a desk or he had a little whatever, like you could buy shit from him. Either way, from there, then they had a spot on, I think, First Ave, I want to say, and then they had a spot. They had three. I think at one point they had three different locations. One was Kim's Underground, which was like a straight up video store / video rental spot. That was on the west. That was kind of more in the West Village, borderline, whatever. And then there was the joint on the crazy one. The one that I frequented was the one on St. Mark's, which is 2 levels at least. And it was ill because like you went in, the first level was all CDs, like all music. And it was like shit that you wouldn't find at like your Coconuts or H&B or whatever. Like, even your Tower Records, like certain, you had to go to like the big Tower Records with like the crazy like curatorial staff on hand.
Right.
But they would have like, a lot of independent DIY releases and things of that nature on CD, even cassette, whatever. Second floor was on one side vinyl, and they also had zines too on the way up to the second floor in the mid section of like the stairwell. Then on the top, you had vinyl with turntable, like with listening stations. So like heads were there like digging. And then on the other side, it was like DVDs and VHSs. And this is when I was going there, it was still like, I don't think I had a DVD player at that point. So, you know, I still have like my sealed copy of like the VHS, the Akira VHS. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Streamlined pictures, like edition. Yeah, before the tin case DVD where they did the special anniversary or whatever, the special edition shit.
Do you have that like in a case or something? Because like
I
that's
have
like
in storage. I have it in storage somewhere. Yeah,
like yeah, like that's
Yeah.
that's like priceless. Like I don't even know. Like that's just like collector's item nirvana right there. Like
No, it's crazy, yo. It's
Jesus.
crazy. And speaking of like, it's funny you mentioned Nirvana on some MTV shit. On some 90s MTV shit. I got the Max and I got the Aeon Flux VHSs, the 3-tape VHSs
Hard. Oh
from them.
man.
The series, you know what I mean? The whole series and
Yeah.
shit.
I
So I
got
got
the
all that.
I got the Max DVD over in the corner because I got into it, and I think it was either like late high school or early college, and I was like, I need to own this. Like
That's one of the best shits ever. That joint is crazy.
the Max is
Um,
incredible.
Come on. Anyone who's listening, tap into the Max with 2 X's.
Please, like
Please, yo, you want to experience. They had all that. They had all the crazy like import Godzilla flicks. They had, you know, kung fu flicks. They had like Bollywood horror flicks type shit. Like they had all types of wild stuff that wasn't like. So when you say like Blockbuster on bath salts, like they really went on some like they had the imports crazy on like
exactly.
on Smash. Like you could get like anime early on there that wasn't available. Definitely wasn't available unless you like ordered out some special catalog, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, yeah, because like that was like because like around that time was like Toonami wasn't big yet, and like Toonami was like a big part of why a lot of people in the States were getting into anime who weren't
Facts.
already out there looking for it. So like this was like
Facts.
Kim's was like the place you pulled up to like get you said it. I'm not gonna say it again, but yeah.
Nah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And like, and the thing too is they were open later. They were open like till like 11:30, I think. And so we would just go there to hang out and like just kill time, like go out at night type shit. It's like, yo, it's like
So
8 o'clock. It's like, all right, well, we just had like a bagel for dinner. All right, fuck it, let's, you know, like me and my mans or whatever. Like, all right, well, let's go listen to some records and go look for some shit at Kim's. Let's look at some zines real quick. So we just shoot down on the 6 train, go to Astor Place, hit St. Mark's, and just be in there till they close. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be digging, be like listening to records or whatever. And you see some funny folks from the scene out there too, and you're like, oh, okay, this guy's mad about something at you know at 10:45 on a Friday night or whatever. Okay, I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, you know, shout out to Kim's though. That place is crazy. Was crazy. But yeah, yo, like honestly too, on some just like early cinematic experience and sort of like linking, well, I mean, early cinematic experiences for me was like music videos too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Thriller.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't watch the Thriller music video when it first came out. I was shook. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like he's turning into a werewolf and the zombies. I'm like, nope.
Me
good.
too, bro.
I'm leaving the room. Thank you. With my and like I'm passing by the room. My parents are like my mom and her like brother are watching the shit, right? And like, I'm like walking through the room with like fucking hand over my eyes, like nope, not seeing this.
Stop.
Not seeing this. Like,
that's literally what, because like I had like the Michael Jackson like platinum DVD with all the videos on it, and that was literally me when me and my sister would watch the Thriller video. I would leave for the beginning. I couldn't handle the shit. Like I was shook. I was terrified. And like, that transformation scene is wild. You're like, whoa, But yeah,
Whoa.
like still like that was Rick Baker, who's like a really famous special effects
Mm.
artist. He's like makeup in particular. He does like Rick Baker is a fucking legend. Like he really like watching it again as like, you know, like as like a man or whoever now, like it's just like, yeah, like I'm like Rick Baker really like his shit holds. Like it's still
Facts.
scary, but it's like just impressive. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I felt
That was a
seen.
whole,
Like I feel you.
yeah, word. That was a whole visceral experience. So yeah, I think and you know, I think like it then left an imprint on it did that that did that thing of like leaving the visual imprint on something that I was engaging with through sound. Like I then went back to listen to the like my cousin who was like an older brother to me, right? He was like 5 years older than me. And I met him when I was 10. So like this is me like as a I think I was like, yeah, around 8 to 10 when that video was like playing on the TV in my house. And I was just like, meh. And he was like big on MJ, you know what I mean? And I mean everyone was at that time. Like when
Yeah.
you turn on the radio, it's like that was part of the rotation. He and his sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jana had control, and then eventually Rhythm Nation. Um, that whole like opening of the door and the you know the what's son's name? Not Boris Karloff. Is it Boris Karloff? Who does the laugh
Um
at the end of
oh
ah, ha, ha, ha.
it's I don't think it's Karloff. I forget
It's
who it
not
is.
Karloff. It's not. Yeah, it's one of the. Yeah, you'll someone's gonna someone can Google that very quickly. But like, it like because I had
It's
images of the
Vincent
video.
Price. It's Vincent
Vincent Price.
Price.
There you go. Right.
Shout out
Right.
to Vincent Price.
Right. Um, if you saw like I saw the video and I saw like or like moments of the video, those things would like flash in my head when I heard the song. So I had a little bit of like navigating to do when I first put that tape. When we like put the tape on, I'm like, ah shit, like it's the scary song. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh shit, it's Thriller. Like, oh man, like, but you know, yeah, I mean, that shit's crazy. Going back to like other music videos that were like cinematic to me though, because I spent a lot of time listening to the radio and like watching like Video Music Box. You know what I mean? So that was where I was watching music videos for the first time. Really. Other than like maybe a random MTV event, but I was more so tapped in with Ralph McDaniels or Uncle Ralph because like Video Music Box showed like music that I was magnetized to, and more so like was like the only show playing rap music videos in like a chain sequence where it's just like it's not just one you're seeing out the whole hour or half hour or whatever. Like you're seeing you know you're being exposed to like various artist groups throughout that time, throughout that episode that day, and it's every day after for me after school. So I'm like, all right, come home, turn on the TV, and I'm watching Night of the Living Bassheads by Public Enemy, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like they got MC Light as the report, one of the correspondents. You know, Flavor Flav is like antagonizing like the folks in the news station. They're like going to like what like some like Wall Street type, you know, boardroom, and all the white people like got the line the coke lines, and they're like, you know, hiding under the table and like wiping their noses and shit, trying to like clean up for the camera crew. You know, that shit was a movie, like for me, you know what I'm saying? And like that like tied the music together. And I was like, oh, like, because in the back while this is all happening, like it fades to the instrumental. Like so Chuck D is like rapping in segments, like cut, like his first verse is like segmented throughout these like little like this like montage of like news clips and things of that nature. And you have that like instrumental, that Bomb Squad instrumental, just like a JB sample. It's this horn that sounds like a siren kind of going on in the background constantly. And I'm just like, it just took you, it took me somewhere. It took me somewhere else. You know what I mean? And I just thought that shit was like wild and genius. Like that shit was like, that shit hit me in a certain way. And I was like, okay, this is like an interact. This is like a certain interaction. Like this is a certain dance. going on between like these elements of like media before I knew what to call it that. But I was just like, yo, like this feels different. Like this looks different, feels different. You know, like I'm not just like watching like, you know, Phil Collins or like Rod Stewart or some shit. You know what I mean? Or like or whoever, like, you know, Prince. Like, although the bat song was crazy, or the bat dance was crazy, crazy. Yeah. He was like, yo, I was like, yo, Prince should have been the Joker. That would have been crazy. And
that would have been Prince as the Joker would have been stupid.
In the Tim Burton joint, what? I mean, stupid, yo, bro. Jack was crazy as the Joker, though. No lie.
Oh yeah,
like, Jack was. But yeah, just like shit like that, like, you know, and then like going into the whole like higher budget period, you know, like of like the 90s, where like, you know, like you got like back to MJ, like Remember the Time, where shit is like, yo, they were like video premieres where like people gather, like households gathered around this TV and like watch MTV, I guess, or I guess it was MTV. I don't know. He might have done something on VH1. Maybe. But like, nah, matter of fact, I think one of them was, I think maybe Remember the Time was premiered on like a standard like channel, like, you know, not Fox, but like just some, I don't know, like some shit to look up. I don't know off the top of my head.
Right.
But anyway, like these were moments, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yo, Eddie Murphy, Iman, like are you kidding me?
And like, Magic Johnson, like Magic Johnson's like, yo,
Magic Johnson is like hitting. Magic Johnson's like Eddie Murphy's like son, you know what I mean? I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. And like also like Magic Johnson is like my favorite ball player at a certain point, just because like I love the name Magic and I thought he was ill. Like, I don't know.
You know,
like, I wasn't like a Lakers head per se, but you know what I mean? I was just like, I just thought I wanted to be Magic Johnson for a second.
Right. Yeah, he was just a cool ass player. Or from what I understand, you know, I wasn't watching basketball at that point, but yeah, like it's definitely like Magic was just like, he was Magic. You know,
he was one of those cats. Yeah, no, he was one of the special ones, so to speak. Yeah. Anyway, so like those kinds of experiences, like those cinematic musical, and I wasn't, and that's the thing. I wasn't into, like, I never saw West Side Story. I know, I didn't see Grease. I've never seen Grease. Like, I'm not into like the so-called musical, so I'm not into that form. Which is funny because Bob's Burgers has a musical.
I was about to ask. Yeah.
So it's going back to that. I could deal with it at, you know, to a certain extent. You know, same thing with what's the joint called? The shit with the gems. The kid with
Steven Universe.
Steven Universe.
I love Steven Universe. Yeah.
I love Steven Universe. And like, you know, Adventure Time too. Like, they break out in the song. I get it. It's cool. And like, it's sometimes it's like super clever. Like, actually, Steven Universe was ill. Like, the songs on there were like a cut above. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Rebecca Sugar and her whole team put a lot of effort into the music. Cause I'm really up and down when it comes to musicals too. Like I grew up with them. I was a theater kid in a lot of ways. So like I like, you know, like musicals were kind of like a part of my life for a period of time. So like I have an appreciation for them. But like as I've gotten older, you know, like it's very, like, there's definitely a difference between like a Bob's Burgers or a Steven Universe that incorporates music and like Hamilton, you know, like that's just on some other shit. But but nah, like it's like, but like I get that, because musicals can be a lot. You really got to be like the story has to call for it, and it's just like got to move in the way it needs to move. A lot of people love Grease. I think Grease is fine. It's not my favorite thing I've ever seen. I've seen it. Like, it's cool. Like, come after me if you want, I guess. But like, Grease is Grease. It's Grease. Like, you know, no one's gonna care what the fuck I have to say about Grease. But like, you know, it's like, but like, I get it. Like, musicals are like, that makes me appreciate stuff like Steven Universe and Adventure Time that does it really well, and it doesn't feel like it's like, not even that it's forced, but just that it's like, like I was saying before, like conducive to the environment. Like I would expect to hear music from a show like Bob's Burgers, and even the offshoot. It's not an offshoot, but one of the creatives behind Bob's Burgers has a show called The Great North, about a family who lives in Alaska with my son Rob Offerman. He's the dad, and It's cute, and it's basically just Bob's Burgers, but with a family that lives in Alaska. It's more or less the same. Like it's almost it would almost be a carbon copy if the characters weren't a little different. There's even a kid like Louise who has like he's in a bear costume. His name is Moon, and like yeah, it's like it's different enough for me to not be like, oh, this is just Bob's Burgers, but in Alaska. But like it's a template. I'll put it that way. But but I fuck with it. But anyway, yeah, you know, I get where you're coming from with the musical shit.
For sure, yeah. Musical. I was just like, I'm just gonna watch a music video for all this. Like, I don't need, you know what I mean? I don't need all this.
Right, same.
You ever seen that Metallica video for the song called One?
Yeah, that's my favorite Metallica song, actually. That's crazy.
Same. That song is crazy.
Yeah.
But
Guitar
that
Hero
video,
days.
Guitar. Right, I forgot about that. Is that how you got introduced to it?
It is. Yeah, it is. Right. Surprisingly enough.
So did you go? So then, did you go back? Were you like, on YouTube, like, what is? I want to hear Metallica, and then you were like Metallica One, and you typed it in and found that there was a video for it, or
this was actually before YouTube, I think. So I heard the song, and then I went on iTunes and bought it, and as was the style at the time, and I found a bunch of other stuff. I had heard like for whom the bell tolls and like all the big songs before that, but like I didn't see the video until years later, and then I saw it and was like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? It helped me, like you and like a lot of people, like music videos are there to help like amplify the meaning of a song. And like the video for One definitely did that for me. It's crazy fucking video.
You ever seen the movie it's based on or it extracts from?
No.
Johnny Got His Gun?
No.
Well, I think that's the name of the book that movie is based on. I think that's also, that shit is crazy. It's on YouTube. It's like, man's like gets hit with a grenade or something, loses all of his appendages, and he's just like alive, but has no face, has no arms, legs, like he's just like a stump basically, and he's just like, it's crazy. He's like tapping out, like they're like, oh, like they show in the video, it's like tapping out, like kill me, like on the pillow, like with his head.
Okay, I've heard of this, but I haven't seen it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's a sort of different. That's a different sort of like viscerality, where it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. It's yeah. I mean, when we talking about like getting like that realm too, like I grew up around like the grunge stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Soundgarden, obviously Pearl Jam. Yo, funny story. You know that song Jeremy?
Yeah.
He's like, Pearl Jam song, Jeremy. Yeah, Jeremy. Yeah, that kid who plays Jeremy in that video was in my kindergarten class. Like,
no shit, that's crazy.
I'm dead ass. Trevor. I forget his last name, but Trevor. Word. His pops was like, yeah, his name would be Trevor. His pops definitely was like a Hell's Angel or some shit. Like he was on some other shit. But like I was just like, this kid like disappeared or whatever. Like, you're young, you don't see the kid come back to school, and like then like years later, I'm watching MTV and I'm like, is that fucking Trevor? Like, yo, this is crazy. Like, what is son doing right now? And he's like shooting. So yeah, Jeremy. Wow, crazy video experience. A lot of those videos were like ill. Like, come on, G. Like, I don't know. I have a large room for a lot of that, like 90s, maybe even late 80s, like 90s, kind of like, I don't know, alternative / grunge, whatever you call the forms or whatever you even call that form, but like everything from like Primus, all the stop motion.
God, you know what I mean? Dude.
Yo, yeah. Primus. I mean, and that's ill too, because Les Claypool then went on and did Adult Swim shit. He did.
Yeah, he did the Robot Chicken theme song.
Robot Chicken.
And the South Park theme song. Yeah, like.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, and I gotta say, like, Les Claypool is one of my favorite bassists of all. Like he's the reason I like him and him and Bootsy are like the
Let's
reason
see.
I picked up a fucking bass guitar. Like
You play bass?
I used to, yeah.
Word. Okay, shit.
It's been a hot ass minute, bro. But like, yeah. I got my Her name is
Respect.
Misty. Her name is Misty. She's in my closet right now. Yeah. But yeah,
Hell
no,
yeah.
like to me, like Les Claypool and like Thundercat later on. Once he started to kind of get his like they were Les Claypool and Bootsy and Thundercat were like, bro, like
That's a power fucking trio right there, my friend.
so like
Goodness me.
it's like a funny story for you now. So like, I'm from a town called Montclair, and
Right.
there's this there's the Wellmont. So like when the Wellmont was first a concert venue, because before it was a big ass movie theater. Like it was like an old, rundown, unrenovated movie theater that everybody would go to anyway. But like they closed it down and turned it into a venue, and it's like really nice, and everybody goes there now. But like, Les Claypool came through when he toured one of his he toured the album that's like the black and white photos. I can't remember what it's called, but like,
Okay. But
like
it's not a Primus album. It's a
no,
like a
it was a solo
Claypool
album
project.
Yeah,
Got you.
so bro came through with his band, and he did a whole bunch of songs. I don't think he did any Primus, but like he did the Robot Chicken theme. He did like all the shit you would expect. And then about halfway through the show, he left the stage and came back out in a monkey mask, and he had like the one string bass, like the whamala, with like the shit where you have to like tune it and like you hit it with a stick. And he just came out and started going in on the whamala, and I didn't know what that shit was. So I'm like, what the fuck is he doing right now? Like, that was a head bust moment for me. We must have been in like mid to late high school at that point. But like seeing Les Claypool bust out the fucking, he's a legend, bro. Like love him to this day. He's incredible.
Les Claypool is a god, straight up. Yeah, no, that goes on a stone somewhere.
Jerry was a race car driver has one of my favorite bass lines of any song ever, bro.
Fuck out of here. I just threw some shit at the phone. I got so hyped. Yo, Jerry was a race car driver. First of all, not for nothing, I somehow did a fake 900 in Tony Hawk's Skate with Harold Hunter. Not Harold Hunter. My bad. Kareem Campbell.
Yeah, Kareem Campbell.
I'm getting the alliteration fucked up. Kareem Campbell, facts. I was Kareem Campbell, and I was hitting whatever, like the indoor half pipe shit, and I just was like, nah, I'm gonna get that final rotation in. I dead got that shit. To like, Jerry was a race car driver because of Primus, though. I say it's because of Primus, it's because of Les Claypool, and and potentially Kareem Campbell's spirit as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, Son is still here, thankfully, I believe. But yeah, that those were cast, like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, having that song in that game was like, yeah. I know wild people who got put on the like Cannibal Ox because of Tony Hawk Underground.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Like that was like speaking for me personally, like the Tony Hawk Underground 2 World Destruction Tour soundtrack is like that opened me up to like the fucking relationship between rap and video games is a whole other podcast, bro. But that soundtrack was like, that got me into 3 Inches of Blood. That got me into Atmosphere and like that whole like Rhyme Sayers Collective and shit. Like back when that was a cool thing, I guess, because they're on some. I mean, like, not that it's not now, but like they're on some other shit that's kind of has me looking at them.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah. But at that point, like I was yes, like that like got me into all of that stuff, and like even because like that, I think that soundtrack had a bunch of Brand Nubian and some it had Brand Nubian and God damn, what was Cool Keith's group? Ultramagnetic MCs. There we go. Yeah. So like, and like, of course, like Beast, like just like all the like, man, oh God, those soundtracks were something else.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, and that's the other shit too. Like skate videos, fam. Like I grew up in a time where like there's a documentary about the whole era of.
We said we were gonna talk about this, so we're here now. Let's talk about it.
All right. Let's go. And then we're gonna copy. All right. So All the Streets Are Silent, right? The documentary, right? You saw it?
Oh yeah. I interviewed Large Professor about the soundtrack.
That's right. Yes, and bless you for doing that. Shout out to Paul, by the way.
Yeah, man.
OG Paul. But yeah, like, all right, where do I begin? I appreciate greatly that documentary due to the fact that it covers this period of transition and intersection. You know what I mean? In it often like overlooked, like all those VH1 hip hop specials and like the Netflix hip hop evolution shit. Like they don't there's too much that they're trying to cover, so they can't possibly just like spend all this time zeroing in on like this like thing from like Club Mars, like this section of like the city or like creative community out here who are like doing shit downtown, doing shit like with like amongst like connecting skating or kids who are skating who are also like going to like Columbia to chill with Stretch and Bob on Thursday nights. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like 89.9 or 89 Tech 9 for all the heads who know. And like, you know, like seeing that all kind of like come together through archival footage was, I think, vital. Like, I think that's needed. I wish they had a few more. Honestly, I wish they had a few more people other than Rosario Dawson and that weird lady who owns that fucking Max Fish or whatever. But right. I wish they had a few more like inclusive. You know, I wish they had a few more women or like femmes who are speaking on the shit. But to have Rosario Dawson is great because Rosario is one of the only celebrities I would actually trust with trust to not be a space cadet. You know what I mean?
Just definitely.
You know what I mean? Like an actual alien reptile type shit. But like, but yo, like that was the era that I was like becoming, like I was a preteen in the early 90s, right? And then 94, 95 in my high school. And then while that's happening, Wu-Tang is out, Biggie, Nas, whatever, all the shit's going on. You know what I mean? Mobb Deep, blah, blah, blah. And like my friends since junior high were telling me about this spot called, I didn't skate. So like, I just lived kind of vicariously through my friends. They were going to the banks. They were going down to, you know what I'm saying? Like they were hanging out with older, like they're like old heads were like, we're Harold Hunter. And you know what I mean? A Kareem would pop in. There's a kid, Rodney. There was mad kids like who just like you hear about. And like, so, yo, some of them, yeah, Keenan Milton. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these kids came and have transitioned since then, but like made a mark and like were and are like kind of like immortalized on some of these videos, like the girl, the chocolate video, you know, the mouse joint, 411 Trans World, et cetera, et cetera. Like, yo, those 411 videos would go crazy. Like they came in and like these, like my friends would just like bring them to the crib or like I'd be at their crib and like just be watching them shits like just like anything else. Like you crack the seal and it's just like, all right, like all eyes, like just focus like 100%, you know what I mean? And you're just tapping fully into this shit because it's just like, yo, you're just so invested and you're at that age too where it's just like everything, you're a sponge. So
yeah, exactly. Your brain is just taking in everything.
Yeah, so it's all this info coming at you at once. It's like, yo, this visceral, like this whatever you want to call it, incredible athleticism, like this trickery, this hacking of like a wooden thing, a wooden board with wheels on it. Yeah. And like the city, because it's not like half pipe skating generally or whatever. It's not vert ramps and shit. It's like street skating. So like that ties in with the whole like that kind of ties closer to like the so-called like understandings of like hip hop culture. You know what I mean? Like so-called elements of hip hop, like graffiti and things of that nature. Anyway, so things that we are already invested in, right? Those soundtracks, like that's how I got into like Bad Brains or Black Flag or like Dead Kennedys, and also would hear certain songs that were like, oh shit, okay. Because like those songs, like the songs that were used on those soundtracks didn't necessarily have music videos, but because those skate videos, we had the visual elements that accompany it. That then became the music video. That became like the thing that made it, like etched it even deeper into our brains. Like, okay, wait, no, that's a moment. Like that's something. Like you can go back and like have like this multi-layered kind of like engagement with or whatever, or memory with. You know what I mean? And that shit, yo, family, like that's like that connected so many dots for me. So like seeing the documentary and like I think they kind of touched on that. But like just seeing it all play out as kind of in those moments, because they're like videotape, like the son had the camera out at those moments, like when Busta Rhymes is first freestyling at 89.9, and Curious George is right behind him, like busting a crazy smile because he's just like, yo, like this cat is amazing, like what? And like, you know, all the shit from the Zoo York Cats, and then the eventual drop of the Zoo York mixtape, which I have the VHS of. Still in my, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like the fact that they used mostly a soundtrack of, they scored, you know, instead of taking just songs from the ether, they were like, nah, like we have all these recordings of Stretch and Bob with the videos that we can just cut in, edit in the footage. Let's have Ghost and Method Man rhyming over a Black Moon instrumental. Let's have, or casual instrumental. I think both. Let's have Ill Al Scratch rhyming over J. Rue the Damager. Let's have Fat Joe, young as hell, you know what I'm saying, rhyming over whatever he was rhyming over, like, et cetera, like on his DITC shit. So it's like, that's the most New York shit you could have done at that point. You know what I mean? In a way, like on some culture shit. Like, it's like, nah, like we're going to do the most, like the landmark, like the landmark fucking underground radio show that put all these canonical figures on, pretty much like not let them through the door, but like usher them through the door, and have this shit with like, you know, a New York skate team and slash what became like a clothing company, a streetwear company, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just like, you know, multifaceted in that way, like a multifaceted cultural experience in that way. Yeah. And just, I don't know, that documentary's, I mean, I really appreciated the Club Mars stuff, because like that was crazy. Like seeing Clark Kent talk about like the earlier days, and like just like you know, how like how Puff like ran with their whole model for his, like, I don't know, I forget what shit called. I feel like Daddy was like in the title or whatever, but he had his own little club night. He ran with their model of just like mixing all these, like these are things that won't ever exist. Like, we can't replicate that, because that's just not the energy anymore. Like, you can't have a night where it won't be the same, because there's so much access, like, because the internet happened, and like folks have so much access to everything, and that just changes your sensibilities and your expectations, or your, like, you know, like even contexts, like all that shit shifts, because you're like literally like, you go in your pocket, you can like take your phone out and like somewhat learn about something new, you know what I mean? Or like get put on to something, and then like, you know, inform yourself to a certain degree about this thing. Like, but there's something about like not having that access, and then having to be there to witness the thing without knowing that any of that shit was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like there is a vast difference in one's like existential kind of like, you know, one's memory, one's existential kind of like like, yeah, just the presence, like being present for those moments is like, it affects it. It hits different, so to speak. You know what I
mean? Nothing like, nothing's going to trump like living that shit. You know, like, you know, like living it, like whatever that means for you, like whatever era you lived, like you were there, like you have like first person like perspectives and experiences and stories and anecdotes like about that. And that's going to hit different versus watching a YouTube recap or a TikTok recap, or just like reading an article on Google, you know, like those things, those things are all super duper valuable, and they're things that I utilize, you know, like, but, you know, like there's like a those are things like all of us utilize, but like there's a difference, between like, for me, for example, like I lived through like my formative years were from like the mid 2000s to like the mid 2010s. Like that was, like that was like around the time I turned like 25, you know, like that's like I was there when Odd Future blew up. I was
Yeah.
there when Dipset did their run. I was
Right.
there when fucking Fat Joe became a completely different kind of dude. I was there. I was there when fucking Ja Rule, Jadakiss, and Fat Joe put out the New York song.
New York song,
Like,
right?
you know, like that
That
was
was
like
the New York anthem of your era type shit.
right,
Right.
exactly. So like, you know, like it's like everyone has, you know, like whether you're young or old, everyone has that era that is just gonna be like, you know, like people will learn about it. And you know, like I could, you know, like I could tell you things that I've heard about like the Stretch and Bob era. But but you know, like you've already come at, you know, like even just like my experience that I had with Kim's before it shut down. Like you came and just like you came and put me onto a bunch of things I didn't even know about it. Like the fact that there were multiple Kims. So, you know, like that's like, and like I think that's one of the things that makes a project like All the Streets Are Silent so special, because like it's a document. It's one of the few documentaries I've seen recently that really puts you, like it doesn't just put you in that zone. Like it really, like it almost has like the energy that I would imagine the stuff like that had. You know, like I kind of got the buzz that I would have gotten from watching a skate video, from watching that. Like then like you kind of compare that to something like the Tony Hawk documentary that's on HBO Max now. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but
no, I didn't know. I didn't even know.
So it's really good. I forget what it's called, but it's like about like Tony Hawk's whole life, and it's like about like his start as like a vert skater and all the circles that he ran in. Like that movie doesn't like, it has like that skater energy to it, but it's different, you know, like because like you were saying earlier, like there's like a huge difference between like the vert skating culture and just like street skating culture, especially when it comes to like Cali versus New York. It's a whole it's a whole thing. But like,
completely
you know, like
right?
so like real quick, the movie the Birdman joint starts, it starts with him at like 48, 49, 50 years old trying to do the 900 for the last time in his career.
Ooh.
So like the first 10 minutes is just him trying to do the 900 and fucking up like 80,000 different times. And like he like gets up and like screams and like he's like
throws his board, gets
you like watch him do it over and over and over and over, and it's like a motif they repeat throughout the whole shit. So like
slick,
but it fits, you know, like as they explain his persona, like it fits the persona. But like, but you know, like that's different from watching footage of Harold Hunter and them just like running through skate videos. Like that whole environment and that whole culture was just so different. But I mean, like,
you're talking about something that's like, my bad, I mean, cut your wisdom, G.
No, it's all good.
But you know what you're talking about is like you're watching Harold Hunter and like like who, you know, I don't know, like that whole crew like running from like security guards and cops. And like, cause there's that whole element of like, you know, running from like merely dodging like a car, a cab, or like, you know what I'm saying, a truck, of like getting hit because like they're landing off of a trick and then, you know what I mean, like they're flying into the street at a certain speed or whatever. Like it's just different. It's like, you know, like it's kind of like the comparison of like an urban environment versus a suburban environment. You know what I mean? Like where like space isn't an issue. Like, yo, space has always been an issue in these like metropolitan kind of like cityscapes or whatever. So like, you know, you have to make the shit your jungle gym. You have to make the shit your skate park. You have to make the shit your canvas. Cause like how many fucking legal walls, you know, well, first of all, that's a whole other thing. But like how many places you're gonna find to like paint safely, where like as like, you know, in like the outskirts of wherever, or like even like in Cali where like, you know, you might have a skate park, you might have a warehouse that's open and has like ramps set up, you know what I'm saying, or like you might have a backyard where you could like build that shit, or a pool that's empty during the colder months. So that's where all that comes from, right? And it's just a different way of like hacking your environment. And I mean, you know, like we're talking about this, we're comparing this shit to like hip hop or whatever. It's the same shit as like going out and plugging into a lamppost to get your electricity, and like using all the knowledge that you perceive from like, you know, sound system culture and whatnot, you know, I mean, like the Caribbean, the Jamaican tradition, you know what I'm saying? And like running that up in your neighborhood, for your community, right?
Yeah.
And like I never had that ability, I never had that experience to like I wasn't old enough, nor was I around for that experience. Like I wasn't at the park jams. I've done block parties, but like not at like the actual like, you know, the Cool Herc era park jam shit. Like that
Right.
wasn't, I admit that I'm not old enough for that. But you know, I was here for like the radio, you know, the Kiss FM WBLS battles, like
Ah.
you know, fucking Mr. Magic and Molly Mall, and then Molly Mall going taking over the Magic slot, and then bringing Pete Rock on it. Like Pete Rock was like 15 or some shit. Like Pete Rock was mad young, going ballistic for like an hour, and it's just like
Yeah.
versus like Cool. You know, I mean, at that point they were cool, but like before that it was like Mr. Magic versus Red Alert. You know what I'm saying? And that was like the Bridge Wars. That was like Juice Crew versus BDP, et cetera, et cetera. So like that was like when I came up, and that's like that I had to find that shit. I had to go hunt for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
like that, you know, it wasn't no Hot 90. Hot 97 wasn't Hot 97. First of all, it was 10. It was like I think it was it wasn't KTU. KTU existed, but it was like in the 103 area of like the dial, and like they were
Right.
a dance music station. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they didn't start to play all hip hop until like they realized that that shit was like they could cash in on that, and like they used Flex for that.
Yeah.
Flex became a popular like club DJ, and like had some clout, so to speak. And then they were like, oh, okay, like you get to play some hip hop for an hour or what, you get to have a little segment. And then slowly but surely, like, it's like, oh wait, Flex's show is the most popular shit. Like,
Right.
okay,
You know.
you know what I mean? Anyway, beyond all that, I just think it's mad interesting to look at in terms of like an that's why I like teach in my class, like with like the found sound class or whatever, like the sampling history class. I just like this idea hacking. Like, I love this idea of like looking at shit as technologies, and like because they are, you know what I'm saying? And like this sort of like subverting, flipping, you know, cracking open, busting open, whatever, like just, you know, literal hacking of systems, you know, that like weren't,
Facts.
you know, like cats were not supposed to put their hand on a record to make a sound effect, to manipulate. You know what I'm saying? Like you weren't like
Yeah.
like you're not supposed to do that. You get smacked. Like you get slapped for that. Like why are you fucking my like why are you damaging my needle? You know, why are you damaging my turntable, young buck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the fuck out of here. Like stop. Go play with some transform. You know, go play with some GI Joes or whatever. Get out of here with
Right.
that. So yeah, that was like me after school. Like I like took my pop's record player out, and I was like 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 in like junior high school, just like oh like and like you know call my friend up and be like yo listen to this you know it's like that was my first, that was like early, you know, 93 or some shit like that, 92 93, and then like
Wow.
95 I got my first decks, and then my it was a starter kit, it was not no 1200s, but
Right.
yeah, but regardless, like you know, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how I got to this shit, but I just think like I think I don't know. There's all these, yeah. Culture is ill. Culture just
It
moves.
is.
You know what I mean? Culture moves,
Yeah,
and
bro.
it a lot of barriers get crossed and broken, and like then that shit is fine. That shit is cool, and I think like films like documentaries like that like All the Streets Are Silent, or even a Style Wars back in the day, like
Mm-hmm.
because graffiti existed before so-called before anything was coined hip-hop. Like graffiti
Right.
existed in graffiti, people were writing their names on shit since like the 60s at least, so like and that's documented, so like but then to put it into that context and then to link it to like you know style with like breaking like dancing and then you know whatever, like at that point you get into like the park jam stuff too, so you have the DJ element as well, or the MC element maybe as well, like all that's present within Style Wars, but like they really emphasize kind of like the tie in between graph writing whatever and breaking or break dancing, if you are one to call it that, b-boy and b-girl and whatever. So like yeah, it's that's a favorite of mine. You know, Star Wars is crazy. I'm tight. I missed the screening recently, There's like one on a week ago. Like,
Yeah, me too, man. I've never seen Star Wars all the way through, and I gotta fix that.
wait, nah.
Yeah.
You can't talk to me right now and have this on your record. What are you talking about? That's crazy. What happened? You fall asleep or some shit?
No, oh man, I'm trying to remember. Wait, no. I lied. I'm thinking of something else. I'm
You
thinking
think
of
about
something else.
maybe Wild
It's
Style or
it's it's
something?
it's completely unrelated. I'm thinking of White Chicks. It's completely unrelated. Don't ask me why I went there. I've seen. I've. Yes. Forget I said anything. I've seen it.
I believe you, Dylan. I believe you, and I believe in you. So yeah, let's just keep this conversation going, moving
No,
forward.
man. I
No,
feel it.
I've never seen White Chicks, so I have no idea what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
So I don't know what we're comparing, but I know it's apples and oranges type shit.
it's not even apples and oranges. It's like
Yeah,
apples. It's like apples and notebooks, bro. Like don't even. I
facts.
was because like the first okay. So here it is. The first time I saw it in pieces, and then I watched it again all the way through. Not White Chicks, but like yeah. So that's why I got it confused. I'm so embarrassed, but yeah.
Nah, you good.
Yeah, no, movies fire.
Facts. Now everyone go watch Star Wars. Everyone go
Please.
watch All the Streets Are Silent.
Yeah.
That's on Hulu now, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe it's on. Go watch the Video Music Box documentary. That's another one.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube for free, I think. And it's also on Hulu. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might need to send me the link because I might want to watch that this weekend, honestly.
Fam. Yeah, what? That joint is
Also,
crazy.
also watch the Tony Hawk documentary when you get a chance. I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember what it's called. I'm like mad.
Called Birdman something, whatever, because like he was called Birdman, right? That's like his
Yeah.
whole
It was
I think Birdhouse is his like skate company, I believe.
Birdhouse is the skate company. Yeah. It's called Tony Hawk Until the Wheels Fall Off. Like
Not at all Birdman. Okay, cool. But
it's a he got like a bunch of people like it's like him and like Rodney Mullen and a bunch of those dudes just and like Rodney Mullen's fucking amazing, son. He's
Rodney
one
Mullen
of the best.
is a special like creature.
My man,
You know
my man's
saying?
he's like a life coach in this movie, bro. Just the things he's saying, he's just dropping gems. It's crazy.
Now my partner was like really tapped in with like Rodney Mullen interviews and like showed me a bunch of them at one point like a couple years ago, and I was just like, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like this cat is just he has to be this guy this way because like
right,
he's just breaking. He's like a certain type of like element bender. You know what I mean? Like he's on some Avatar shit. Like he just comes in and just like changes the fucking the pace of shit. Like you're like, okay, like you did that with that board with wheels on it. Fine. I'm a believer. You know what I mean? Like son had a TED talk. It was kind of awkward because I think that's not the space for him. But it's cool. It's interesting. But I think he has like a bit of an awkward energy because I don't think I don't think that's like the comfortable place for. I don't know who's really comfortable doing TED talks, to be honest. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that is a whole other thing. Narwhal was comfortable during his, which is crazy. But yeah, anyway.
Wow, Narwhal has a TED talk. Okay. I've yet to see that or the Kid Cudi one. Theme music. That's a big thing for me. Theme music was a big thing for me because it was like, first of all, like, understand that like we came up on TV intros and theme songs. You know, my era, like, I mean, the shit I was watching was like, I mean, shit, Airwolf, Night Rider. Come on, G, like,
yeah,
all
that shit.
The A-Team, motherfucking Houdini's 5 Minutes of Funk. Now, facts. That was the speaking of Video Music Box, that was the theme song to my after school, like every day, coming home and hearing that's like if you sing that to Ralph McDaniel, like he's probably sick of people singing that to him because that became like the thing that people like greeted him with. But yeah, the Houdini 5 Minutes of Funk, and like I didn't know it was Houdini 5 Minutes of Funk either until way later, like decades later, which is crazy. I don't know, Transformers, motherfucking Fat Albert, Sanford and Son, like the Jeffersons, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can just keep running through the list or whatever. For everyone who's listening right now, Dylan has left the room. But yeah, theme music is I mean, another point of like audio visual connectivity, because like we went to school humming these songs or this music, to either like test our friends or just because we were watching the shit like the night before, the day before. This like theme music became like a part of like our like daily or weekly ritual. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's wild, G. Like thinking about the shit too, theme songs in this day and age, that like would you say they're diminishing, right? Because like in the age of streaming, you have the skip button. So like
and I mean,
no, I don't even think they're bothering anymore. Like Ozark didn't. I recall at least this season, Ozark didn't have it. Just cut straight. It was just like here's a logo. Here's like a little like artwork, and then it goes straight into the episode. We're not even gonna mess around with like trying to give you some music. At least a theme song. We're gonna use the soundtrack as the musical element.
Like two I could think of. Like Atlanta just kind of uses whatever song is playing at the moment and then does like a clever little, they like put the Atlanta logo like in the scene somewhere. And
Insecure
then like
does the same thing, right?
Insecure does the same thing. And then like Abbott Elementary has like a really short thing. And like, yeah, themes like outside of like even like cartoons don't really have theme songs like that anymore. Like a few do, but it's not as like the last one that I think that really had that like iconic like flair to it was probably Steven Universe. Funny enough, like like Steven Universe has one that like I still like, it's a TikTok sound, so like the theme song is still everywhere. But like, yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean it's a TikTok sound?
Like,
because I'm not on TikTok like that. So I mean, I see videos, but you know what I mean. So here's an old head moment for me. Let's go.
So like a bunch of like there's like a cover of the little melody from the theme song, and it just gets used in the background of videos all the time. I hear it and I'm like, oh, that's the Steven Universe theme song. And that's cool. But like, yeah, like there are some shows that have theme songs, and like there's something, yeah, like you said, with the multimedia connection, there's just something so special about having like associating a song with like those specific images. Like you said, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song, like I can hear and see the whole thing in my head right now. And there's like, and it's two versions, because like the one that was running when I was a kid was the one that was on like the edgy Fox Kids, like, and like and like that one was kind of different from the original version. But the original TMNT shit, it's like everyone knows that fucking song, like. And
that was there's an arcade game that had the music too. So you were bugging, like putting your quarter up, like getting hyped. You know what I mean? It's just like
man, Turtles in Time is so amazing.
Turtles in Time, come on.
Because you mentioned Fat Albert and Sanford and Son. I've been watching a lot of Sanford and Son lately, and like Sanford and Son is like maybe top 5 best theme songs of all time, if I had to pick
Jones.
one. Yeah, which I didn't know until I started watching the show again. I saw his name in the credits, and I was like, Quincy Jones did that? Like,
I mean, that's like, didn't James Mtume do New York Under? I know he was like, I feel like he was like music supervisor. Like he was doing, I feel like he was booking the, or maybe I'm getting this fucked up, but he either did the theme song and handled like the coordination or like the booking for like that final scene, like where like they'd have shows where they have like a performance at the end. kind of tied in. It wasn't 227. What was it? What was the other joint that did that? There were a couple shows that did that. I mean, and then there's like, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Come on, G. Like, then that was an actual song. That was one of their songs, and they just edited it down. Shit. Yeah, but the Quincy Jones, Red Fox or Sanford and Son theme is like, I remember I had doubles of that record. I stole both of them from my pops.
Wow.
Like my pops had a lot of Quincy Jones records. Thank you, Dad. And Isaac Hayes, like Walk On By. So like that was my first like sample digging, finding experience, because on that same Quincy Jones. So like the Sanford Son theme, I was like, oh shit, this is the Sanford. Like, this is the TV theme. Like, oh snap. But then I think the first song on maybe side A, Summer in the City, and that's the original sample to Far Side's Passing Me By.
Wow. Okay.
It's the opening, it's the intro. It's like the opening bar. It's like ba ba da da and like you're like, I was like, what? This is that? Oh, like it just.
I've always wondered where that came from too.
That shit cracked my whole skull open. And I think this the clone sample, the Roots, that one part was like the bridge on that song Clones, from Illadelph Half-Life. There's that like bridge part with the vocal. That's from, I think, either the same song or it's definitely from the same Quincy Jones album too. So this shit is chock full of things that like I already had points of connectivity to when I put the needle on, in my like early teens, like on that record. I was just like, that's like that's the first time that's the first record I ever like found a sample on, so to speak. Or where a sample came to me and I was like, oh snap. So like, and then, Isaac Hayes, Walk On By, another one where it's just like, okay, that's Compton's Most Wanted. That's Biggie, Warning. You know what I'm saying? That's so much shit. And later on, that's MF Doom, Dead Bent. That's mad other shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Ludacris, even if you want to cite that, even though it's not, I wouldn't consider that canonical in that way. But like Chicken and Beer, was that album?
Chicken and Beer, yeah. I forget the song, but yeah, I
it's like the intro. It's like the first song, I think, some shit.
Like, yeah, you're right.
Anyway,
damn, this has already been so incredible, and I've only asked you like 3 questions. Like we've already been going for like almost 2 hours, and I've only asked you 3 questions. That's crazy.
That's an actual fact.
I love this, honestly.
Yo, did you see the Nickelodeon documentary?
No, not yet.
Did you grow up on Nickelodeon?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay.
I definitely did. I just haven't, because you're talking about the one on Hulu, right?
It was either Hulu or Netflix. Yeah, it was one of them. I think it was Hulu. Yeah. That joint is quite a watch as well. Just because it's just a big part of my childhood. Like Nickelodeon was like big, and like the different eras of it too. Like,
yeah,
I started before, what's that shit called? Pinwheel, and like, there's like the real kiddie shit, like David the Gnome, I think was on there too, I feel like, and some other stuff. But then like you get into like, you can't do that on television, and like where the kids are getting slimed, Double Dare and all that. And then like Pete and Pete, that era, which is like, that shit is crazy. Like I'm like that show plays out in like a absurdist psychedelic kind of, like that's how I remember it. I just remember it being like so oddly paced, and I loved it as a kid even. I was just like, oh, this is different. This is not like, it doesn't feel like I should be like I don't understand all of this and why this is happening with these 2 kids. It's almost like Full Metal Alchemist, where it's just like, this is kind of like, there's a lot more like, not I wouldn't say like, it's some heavy shit happening right now. You know what I mean? Like Full Metal Alchemist, as like cute as some of the voices are or whatever, is not like, I don't, and obviously like surface level, I think like someone would pass over it if they were like a certain like traditional old school anime head who like came up on like Fist and North Star or something like that. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, like, what the hell is this? This like, the robot has like the the armored spirit or whatever has like this child's voice, and it sounds cute, and you think it might be some Disney type shit, but like that shit is sad, yo. That shit is like,
bro.
Damn. Like
third episode type shit. Just like them, like seeing what they did to get their mother. Like I was just thinking about Brotherhood, because Full Metal Alchemist is my favorite anime of all time. If I had to pick one.
Word?
Like,
hell
yeah,
yeah.
it's at the very least it's top 3. Like I really love it, and just like you know, like the third episode in, you're seeing these little kids like fucking looking at the mangled corpse of their mom. And you know, like then like he loses his brother, and he's missing a leg and his arm. Just like Jesus. that's like the most, you know, like they really Trojan horsed something beautiful with that show, man. And just like the way, like I like the original version a lot, but well no, I like Brotherhood way more, because it's like I just think the manga story was better. But I don't want to. But yeah, I love Full Metal Alchemist, and I love Nickelodeon, and yeah, like just like that whole
yo, my bad. I like we just catapulted from like Nickelodeon, like literally like the 90s Nickelodeon to like Full Metal Alchemist. My bad, G.
No, you're making connections, and that's what I live for. But yeah, you know, like it's just like yeah, like that early that just like early section of Nickelodeon was so precious. And just like and just like that, like because like I started maybe around like the end of like the original like Rugrats, like Rocko's Modern Life era, and then and then like just before SpongeBob was a thing,
right?
Like just
right,
before
right.
SpongeBob took everything over, and like that era was great.
Rocko's is crazy.
Rocco still goes crazy.
Fly guy.
Like
yo, he's the reason why I rock like why I would rock like a Hawaiian shirt, like a Hawaiian print shirt. You know what I mean? Like,
already.
That's the guy right there. I got some Rocco flavor. I got some like Rocco steez. I got some Rocco type pieces in the closet.
Hell yeah.
Nah, he was that show was crazy. Wasn't there a movie? Yeah, it was like a Rocco movie, right? That shit was dumb funny. I remember. I thought I was just like like crazy. Like I just remember it being like wild, like again psychedelic. I just remember that shit being like, yo, am I watching someone who like is creating mid trip? You know what I mean? Like, what is this story I'm like trying to step into? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is this world? But I just remember that shit being ill.
You know, it was tight. It was like it was like Rocco was like being tasked with like writing his own reboot, and like him and Heifer and the turtle whose name I think what was it, Sheldon? Was his name Sheldon? Were they that on the nose with it? Okay, yeah. So yeah, the three of them were just like they've been drifting in space for 20 years, and they come back to Earth, and it's like, yeah, we gotta like make the new show. And
yes,
what was Mr. Bighead's kid transitions, and she's a girl. I forget. I forget her name, but like the way they handled it was like that was the thing that I wasn't expecting that to be a plot element, but watching them just kind of be like, you know, it's like, oh hey, Rocco's back, also trans rights. Like I was like, whoa, like not what I was expecting to see, and they handled it really well, and it's just it was just very cute, you know, like and like Mr. Bighead is like he doesn't get it, but he gets it at the end. It's just good. But on top of that, it was just funny and it looked great, and you know, it's Rocco, you know, like that's our shit.
Yeah, no facts. I gotta tap back into it. I think that's one that I'd never finished. Probably due to like falling asleep or whatever, just you know, not being in the right state of mind or whatever. Yeah, yo. Huh. I don't know. It's like, yo, you know what one of my favorite movies of all time is?
What's that?
Fresh.
Yeah. Wow.
Wait, you hesitated. That's like you had to like jog your memory on that.
I don't think I've seen Fresh.
Oh,
that one I know I definitely haven't seen. That's why I
Okay.
had to, yeah.
Okay.
School me real quick.
I don't know. Fresh is like, and we're talking about the '90s Fresh. There's some other bullshit, but yo, Fresh. First of all, Fresh has like, all right, G. First of all, Fresh is like one of Giancarlo Esposito, right?
Yeah, that's his name.
That's like that's like that's kind of like how I know him. You know what I mean? Like it has him, Samuel Jackson's in it, Boaz Yakin. He wrote and directed the shit. I think is he? Either way, it's not even. I can't even compare it to anything. Like I was gonna say, like, oh, it's kind of like The Wire condensed into like the Corner Boy era part of The Wire condensed into a movie. It's like 2 hours and it put into like '90s New York. And like this kid and chess and dealing with his like absentee kind of like probably alcoholic father. I think alcoholic father and his, you know, I mean, his sister kind of being out there in the streets type shit. Like it's just a beautiful kind of like it's like a beautiful and heartbreaking like coming of age film because this kid is like 13 and he's just like doing what he can to get his like family out of like this situation. And the score is like is beautiful. It's not like the soundtrack itself was like all this old school stuff and then a couple Wu-Tang joints, which was like interesting. But the actual like score in the movie is like all it's like kind of like sort of like ambient orchestral glides and things of that nature. So I don't know, it's just it's just a beautiful flick. And like it's like one of my favorite like New York movies of like maybe of that era, so to speak. It's where it's okay. You ever heard the Big Pun, the first Capital Punishment album? And it opens up with like the whole thing of like the kids being like, Punisher smokes all of them, bow, 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 Punisher, you know what I mean? That like he's just talking about like Punisher's the baddest, whatever. Like that's from Fresh.
That's from Fresh. Okay, yeah.
That's this key character named Chucky, his like best friend, who's like this like extra acting type kid. But it's like a key element in the movie. Like it's like the thing. It's one of the things that you like end up like quote, not that part of the script necessarily, but like just like he has those lines that you like recall. And you're like, that's so stupid, but like that's so cool. Like so, you know, it's rich in like a character on a character level. So like I don't know. That's my like pitch on Fresh. I think it's like it's a beautiful fucking movie. And again, it's also just like it's not one of those like happy-go-lucky kind of things.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Watch it, please. And let me know what you think.
I will. Like I'm mad at myself because like Giancarlo and Samuel L. Jackson in a movie I haven't seen. Like I'm mad at myself, but I will watch it if I can find it. I'm sure I'll be able to find it somewhere. But
you definitely, I definitely have it on DVD. If anything, I'll link you and pass you the DVD.
Thank you.
That's like one I won't get rid of. You know what I mean? Just because like it's not even a special DVD or anything like that, but it's just like that's just one of those like that's a flick I want to like hold in my hands type shit.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know. Rest in power to Vangelis, or I don't know how Vangelis, cat who scored Blade Runner. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. One of that's another that's like a favorite sort of like sci-fi moment of mine. Harrison Ford, Daryl Hannah, all that shit. That shit is crazy.
Yeah, man. What an incredible movie. One of my favorites.
I don't know, G. There's so much like Hez could talk about anime, but like also like it's been a minute. Like this is like we haven't even talked about anything. We've just talked about movies, which I'm fine with, and like TV shows and that. Like,
Same here.
I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? You could always, I don't know. I don't
I
want to direct
have
the show. You got the wheel back. My bad, G.
no, man, this has been amazing. Like this is better than any question. Like this is better than like 80% of the questions I had written down. But there are two things. There are two things I want to talk about, and they're specifically about PTP.
Okay.
I want to know more
Thanks.
about. I'm sorry, one second.
No doubt.
I'm eating goldfish. What's it called? So PTP is something that you put together yourself in about, if I remember correctly, like 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Started as a blog.
Yeah, and you named it after the purple tape.
Yeah. Yes. Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links, which was on a purple cassette tape.
Right. Yeah. Of course. I don't know why I'm saying that. Like everybody knows what that means.
No. I mean, yeah. It's kind of. I mean, just for anyone who doesn't know, you know what I mean. I'm just adding the subtext.
Absolutely. So just talk to me about like the beginnings of PTP and like eventually taking it from like being a blog to a physical, just taking it from like the digital to the physical and turning it into a thing that's like a platform for people.
I think that was always the motivation though, for me, as far as like, I mean, one, like I was very like collective based already, like as far as like my experience with just my experience in like the New York so-called underground and hip hop community, whatever as a participant. It was something I wanted to kind of create my own or create a collective of obviously like-minded folks or whatever, who, I mean, not maintained, but like brought a certain type of energy that, we could all sit at the same table together and so to speak, build, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It just was always kind of like a motivation for me to like do things with a bit more agency than like, I never had those like, gotta get signed ambitions, like make a thing and then have, make a demo and then run it over to like spaces like major labels or any label and like get signed off of that and then like operate under the said label. So, and even in saying that, like I approach the operation of PTP and as more of like a collaborative effort between myself and like the folks who you see being released on PTP or through PTP. You know what I mean? There's no I don't do the contract shit. It's just like we can have conversations and I want to honor that shit. I want to honor that dialogue that we should have. And, like I want to be available or present for like questions and, even like, well, anything, like just whatever. Cause like, I want to be accountable for like the shit that I do and like the way I navigate each collaboration, as they should be, accountable for their, for their role in it as well. Like it's not like, I don't know. Like it's like the label, like the traditional label structure is always like such a, I mean, always seemed unfair or like seemed like backwards to me in terms of like how it honors like people's work first and foremost, like in terms of like how like why is the label like getting so much bread, for the thing that got created, and then the artist has to, now it's the artist's job to recoup everything, that's a major label thing. Before 360 deals or whatever, it was like, all right, like here's your advance. That's a loan. You any money you spend from that, you owe back. Like all that bread you owe though. You know what I'm saying? Like in most cases. So like they're just being like, okay, well, we invest in you, you show improve, and then sooner or later you're going to be able to make money off, like your profits will come by like touring and by, you know, merchandise and things of that nature, like, because you're not making money off this fucking CD being sold at Sam Goody or whatever, or like Coconuts or you know, whatever fucking Urban Outfitters now type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially not now. Like, so like where I was at, I was like, yo, like I saw friends who were like had their own little DIY operations because they were either, you know, either in the punk or hip hop sect of culture, so to speak. And, you know, cats were doing their own zines, cats were making their own cassettes and pressing up their own vinyl when that was a more accessible thing. And, you know, then, you know, burning their own CDs, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just like, I thought that was fly. I thought that was super cool. Then you hear these stories about like Too Short or Master P or like, you know, folks over in the Bay, you know, where like the car culture is so thick. And, you know, they're selling product out the trunk. And I just thought that was like, well, shit, they're doing it themselves. Like, that's it. Like, you know,
yeah.
Why can't we do that? You know what I mean? Like, and, yeah, I don't know. So it was always like, I don't know. I had a little bit of so-called industry experience during the so-called independent label phase of the mid 2000s, with you know, major label artists going to like distribution deals with like Koch or like Landspeed or these other labels, these other like pseudo, I don't know what you call them really, but like pseudo independent labels and whatnot. And like, you know, cats were like, oh, we're getting $7, $8 a CD, da da da. Like if it sells for 14, we get half of that. And I'm just like, I had a, you know, I did some shit with Dipset basically in like 2005. And like, I didn't like the experience, you know. It took a lot of time and energy to like get paid for the thing that was made, you know, a year and change, maybe whatever, but submitted like at least 6 to 9 months. No, 9, it was like 9 months. It was like the Ghostface line. It's like Waiting on Babies, which is from the Purple tape. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But that like rang out, and I was like, wait, this is fucked up. Like, I need to pay out my lawyer. I need to have a lawyer to watch my lawyer. I need to, you know, like I really like read books and shit just to like protect myself on that shit. And I was just like, no. And I was like speaking to people who like had more experience than me at that time in like the mid 2000s, and they were just like, yo, like, yeah, you got a lawyer up, you gotta get another lawyer just in case someone who, you know, never signed some shit, whatever. I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, this feels like I'm going into, you know, this is not a safe environment.
Right.
And I just didn't see the sense of like replicating that, or like I didn't see the sense of like even like continuing that experience for myself. So I was like, nah, fuck that. Like, make something all, you know, like, I've seen my friends do this shit. You know, I've watched LP build Def Jokes. Not like, I didn't like personally watch him, so to speak, but I was close enough. You know what I'm saying? I've seen like other folks do things, and like, I'm not trying to replicate any of that. I was just like, oh, I've seen shit, so like, let me try. And doing the blog was just kind of a simple way. Like, someone just was like one day, was like, yo, you ever do a blog post? Like, you ever think about doing a blog site? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know, it was like seeing me on MySpace or something, like rattle off some stories and post a video link or something. And nah, like, you should like tell stories and like post videos. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try that. So it just started as that. And then it was just like with the idea that like enough like-minded people are going to kind of huddle around that little place on the internet, and then I could then introduce them to new music. And then we got on the radio. I threw my man Note PTP, threw him down pretty soon thereafter to like help me with the site and kind of like be my like ace in operations for a minute. And or just like, you know, he had a lot more graphical experience than me. et cetera, et cetera. So like at the time, so like he was holding a lot of things down on, and we just were like, you know, doing the assists. We were just like, all right, like each of us were posting things on the site, whatever. We got the radio show, so we were co-hosting the shit. I was like, originally I was the DJ and like kind of in charge of the music, and then I shifted over to like booking guests, and then Note had a segment of when he would play the music in the first hour, and then I'd have, you know what I'm saying? So we had this a radio run for like a few years, and then which kind of the origins of that started on East Village Radio, and that's no more. That was a storefront on First and First Ave, and literally like, you know, it was through our homies at For Your Deuce Radio. Shout out to Capital P, shout out to Keen, shout out to, I mean, actually a big rest in power to Gibi, my OG, who was part of the SD50s. You know what I mean? Did shit with like KMD, did shit with like Brand Nubian, did mad shit, to be honest. Yeah. You know, did shit. I think he did some shit with Hyro. Like, you know, he was in the production group with Dante and Gamble. Anyway, all that history or whatever aside, I think it was just there was that, yeah, just a need for agency, honestly, and like just a need for like something that wasn't industrialized and like gross. You know what I mean? Like gross in the like, okay, we're dealing with this thing that like we can't actually sustain as humans for long periods of time. Like you can't just like expect, you know, like I've been approached by so-called whatever, like labels since like the King Vision Ultra thing started, and they're like, oh, like we are gonna do a part 2, we're gonna do a second, you know, sequel to that album. Like, why? Nah, like I'm not gonna jump on your conveyor belt. You know what I mean? Like I'm good where I'm at. I did all this shit myself. Like I don't need you. Like fuck out of here, because you're gonna just make me a social media campaign and drop me after you wrung me out type shit. That's how I see it. I see all that shit as like vampiric. Like you could finagle that shit, but XL and Young Turks and all those people, like they're on some fuckery. Like they're on some bullshit anyway, and they're all like funded. You know, they all got deep pockets that go other places. You know what I'm saying? Just like on some like same thing like a Red Bull type situation. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? They're all funded by the Beggars Group, I think. So let that be a thing. I don't know. And, you know, if someone's signed to him or whatever who's listening right now, like, I wish you the best. You know what I mean? I hope you get out with all your limbs intact. You know what I mean? So, but I'm skeptical of all that shit. I kind of, not even on some control freak. It's just like we're owed that. We're owed like our agency.
Absolutely. So, you know, and that's an important thing to say, considering that, like, you know, like the very last thing I was going to ask you was about, you know, just like you built PTP into something that's really kind of fostered agency in that way for a lot of people. And I mean like a lot of people, you know, like not even just for everything you and Dream Crusher are doing with Centennial Gardens, or not just, you know, and yeah, of course, always. And, you know, like not just for people like, you know, like Akai and fucking like Iblis, who y'all just did the cassette for the Iblis project, which I bought. Go buy that cassette. And like, you know, like y'all really, of course, y'all really like, you know, like the thing about PTP is that like agency really is the word for what I've heard and what I've seen. And, you know, like you've been at this for a minute, and you've been at it in so many different ways. Yeah. And there's just, and like that's been the beautiful thing about this episode, is just like I've just been listening to you talk, because like you just have so much wisdom and so much game to give. And and just like, you know, like considering all the things that you've done over the course of your career, and just like the fact that you're a teacher on top of that too, like you teach, like you teach all these courses, like, you just do so much and give so much back to people. And yeah, because oh yeah, I gotta go get in the shower real quick. So like for you, like I didn't realize what time it was. I got somewhere else to be soon. But
Oh,
like,
shit.
but like just like how does it feel to kind of be piloting PTP through this era of music and community? And just like there are a lot of people I talk to who, and I would agree in some respects that like we're kind of going through like a creative renaissance right now, just like
Sure.
all across music. Like how does it feel to kind of see this new generation of cats just like crop up in the middle of all this and just kind of be like just like surveying it from your vantage point type shit?
Absolutely. I, from a positive standpoint, like there's plenty of things that I I don't let's scrap all that. Scrap all that. I want to focus on the positive. And like I think like honestly, facts, we are in a creative renaissance. And it's been that way for a minute. And I'm happy to see such a I'm happy to see I'm happy to be around so many like different voices and like different means of kind of like expressive avenues or whatever. You know what I mean? Because like there's folks here who are like, they do their thing through a certain type of like a certain rhythm, a certain style of beat, a certain style of music that's just instrumental, a certain style of rap, a certain style of vocal, they be singing, whatever. Like, there's like noise, punk, things that are all hybrid, mutated, et cetera, all in the center, and things you can't classify. You know what I mean? And like, I'm really just not one for genre anyway. So like, you know, there's a form. I like form, but there's also a formlessness in kind of like the day and age that we're in. It's like, what do you call, like, say for instance, and I wish I could say that I've done something with BK the Ruler, but like, what do you say about BK the Ruler? Like,
Right.
that shit is as, I mean, but it's similar like what people were saying about like Public Enemy. That shit is like noise and punk as it is, as much as it is like the form of rap music being done. You know what I'm saying? It's electronic music too in that same way. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yep.
literally like they're literally hacking and making music on electronic like equipment. So like same thing for BK. It's just like I heard, especially like Love Black, like the latest one. I've been rocking that shit recently. I'm just like, it's just ill. Like,
Yeah.
but like, looking at like the collectives, and being able to kind of, I don't know. I think like I came up during a renaissance in terms of like the underground scene, like the New Yorican and kind of like the downtown scene. Sort of like the last days of it, like the last years of that shit, really. And certain things that happened then cannot happen now, but certain ideas or principles obviously can be carried on. Same thing as any walk, any like chapter of life. You know what I mean? Like certain principles can remain. You know what I mean? So like now I'm here as like somewhat of an elder or whatever, right? Like, and recognizing and acknowledging my role as that. And I'm amidst this like renaissance occurring, right? Let's just call it that, right? Like for me, I now have the unique position or unique role to play where I can, I can offer resources. I can offer, what I'm saying, this sort of collaboration that is unique. Like there aren't a lot of folks doing this shit like this to this sort of like degree. I know that for a fact. So like, you know what I mean? Like, cause for instance, like, yo, again, I ain't operating on no contracts or whatever. I'm not worried about doing paperwork with you. I'll show you the paper. You know what I mean? I'll show you the paperwork and I'll show you everyone who's bought your shit and I will pay you out. You know what I'm saying? The transparency is a given for me. Like, and we all have the conversation about that. Cool. that's understood. That's like one of the first conversations if we're going to talk about that, like logistics and shit, right? But like, ain't no paperwork, and we don't need that. We just like, if a guy got some shit that he wants to be made and put into the physical realm, and I can help him to like grow grip, or rather break all records, like his imprint, let's do it. His catalog, his break all records catalog is number is increasing every time we do that collaboration, because that's on the cassette. If you see it in the fine print, like it's a BAR 00 whatever 7 or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Plus it's PTP 2047 or some shit, right?
Right.
And like he can do, like, he's not bound to me, or I'm not bound to him, blah blah blah. Like, you know, I can like do shit with air, like J-Words and Masai, you know what I'm saying? And as I could do some shit with like just whoever. And like there's a trust there, you know what I mean? And that I think is like, that's like obviously a big element of it. But like my whole shit, just to answer, just go back to your specific, like specific part of your question or whatever. Like I just think like I have to one first, like, and I have already, like, acknowledge the fact that I'm where I'm at, and I have the experience and the wisdom to pass, like the knowledge to pass is wisdom, due to like my existence and being out here, so to speak. But then also beyond that, like, yeah, taking that and putting that into action, you know what I'm saying? And finding ways to make that useful for like other folks. Cause like I had elders who looked out for me, and I knew what that did for me. So like I have the unique role to be able to do that for folks, but also not necessarily like be a parent to them, and not also, you know, I'm not fathering anybody. It's not that. It's just like, yo, it's like big bro shit, you know what I'm saying? And like, also just collaborator shit. Like I don't want to fuck with a hierarchy or whatever. I don't care about that. There's no headliners. Like, let's just do this shit and support each other, and be loyal on a level of like, you know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
Loyalty to like, or rather like that promise again, like I'm gonna say it again, like the promise to honor collective is what I'm interested in, and like what I want to continue to foster and like learn about in the future days of like myself, PTP, and like the folks I have around me, and who are willing to like build with me on all this shit. And that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes a village, basically, as they say.
That's I was gonna ask you if your life was a movie, what it would be about, but I think that's the movie right there. I think that's it. I just think that whole takes a village, and just like that whole, yeah.
Thank you, G.
I don't, no, of course. Like I don't have any more questions. But like, bro, like this might be the longest episode we've ever done. It's like right on the verge, and I love it. Like,
word.
You gave me more than I could ever possibly ask of you. So like, thank you for that. And
No doubt.
Thank you for your support and for your contributions to all of this. And just like, yeah, you know, like you've done a lot, and to see you recognize and uplift so many other people, including myself, in all of this, and just kind of just being an ear and just like perspective and all that good shit. Like you just, thank you, man. Like, I don't know, like this, just like you do a lot, and it's appreciated, you know?
Thank you, family. Word. Nah, yeah, thank you for again, like I feel affirmed, G. And like, I appreciate that. And, you know, least I could do is whatever I can do. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
yo, you know, I appreciate you, Dylan. Like I really, I'm glad we got to be, you know, more, we got to get to friendship level, and like, you know, you get to like build and like shoot each other like random fucking voice messages at like random like early hours in the morning type shit or whatever. And like ideate on things or whatnot. Like, yeah. So I appreciate the builds. I appreciate what you do fully. And like, yeah, man, you know, we just keep going with this shit. There ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing except for what it is, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, family. This was a wonderful 2.5 hours. So
incredible. Yeah, just about. So I gotta watch Fresh. And then I gotta go to, and then I gotta go to the new Kim's, or we gotta go to the new Kim's.
Let's do that. Let's make that work. Let's make that happen. And
we can make that happen.
And I'll watch the Tony Hawk documentary.
Please, yeah. I'm like, let's hold each other to that. Let's hold each other to that.
Speaking about accountability, let's go. All right, bet.
Already. Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the Black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.